This is going to be a pretty free-form meeting tonight. We don't have a speaker as such. We never really looked for one for the last meeting before the summer, and we didn't know whether or not we'd be successful with the eclipse and have some pictures to show. We'll show some anyway, but if anybody wants to, rattle off for a bit of a members forum, I guess, as such, right?
Well, I can start if you like.
Okay, Gary, do your introduction.
Okay. Hello, welcome to the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, St. John's Centre. I'm Gary Diamond, your president. Welcome aboard. This is going to be a members type night. I'm dying to hear what people saw, especially how you identify the backside of clouds. I think most of us saw them in the eclipse, and I think we're going to start off with who, Randy?
Svetlana, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I volunteered.
All right, take over.
All right. Give me a second. I'll share my screen. Okay, do you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I've been up to recently and my summer plans. So you probably know that Memorial now has 2 fully online physics courses. Both are in astronomy. And so far it is quite affordable. It's only $255 per course, but it's going to change soon, I imagine, since we probably no longer to have tuition fees. So if you know somebody who is interested, you may want to tell them to take advantage sometime soon. So there are no prerequisites. So one is introductory astronomy and one is more astrophysics type of a course. And this summer I'll be working on putting my subatomic physics course full online. And this is particle physics, nuclear physics, and applications such as nuclear medicines, in case if you know who's somebody who is interested. So that's my summer plans, more or less. Eclipse. I'll skip right to it. I only saw it for maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes more than us.
But I was really, really lucky because it was at about 80% coverage at the time. So I think it was around 7:05, somewhere from 7:05 to 7:10. So it looked glorious. I don't have any pictures. It was really, I saw a glimpse of it, but that was it. But it's very interesting that even through the cloud cover, you still can see how it gets darker. Like I could definitely see it. So I do have pictures from 2017 taken with Coronado. And we normally have it mounted on our main telescope at the observatory, but you can take it off and you can take it with you. And of course, in 2017, we have to fly to the US to see it. And flying with Coronado through all of the airport security, that was a lot of fun. So it was my husband, Alex, and me. So here's Alex. And we were stopped maybe 5 times for full checkout. Like what the heck is that? People are asking repeatedly. And yes, there are some pictures. So, but that's from 2017. So total eclipse is of course entirely different kind of deal or experience. What are we going to do about April 8, 2024? And I was hoping you would have some ideas. So from Corner Brook, I suppose we could drive to Port Basque. That would be a good location. But if the weather is not good, you don't really have a lot of options. You cannot chase it. There is no road. Like in the US in 2017, we can actually chase it. You can jump in the car and drive. You can't do it here. So I wonder if it would be better to fly to Montreal because there's a better connectivity here. I haven't decided yet, so I would love to hear your ideas.
Most people are saying it's, you know, a long way away from now, but I've been participating in some weekend seminars and stuff on how to get prepared for it.
Mhm.
And people are finding that the social media buzz for all these astronomical events now build up to the day. And I've seen some, like Mr. Eclipse guys, they were planning to go to Texas. They're not even going to Texas now, they're going to Mexico, because he said it's just going to be madness on the roads. Everybody's going to decide at the last minute they need to get from, you know, southern Texas to northern Texas or whomever. We found the same thing. We were in Douglas, Wyoming,
Mhm.
and we were on a tour bus. We left, you know, 3 o'clock or so in the morning to get there by 10, and we didn't see the first contact. We were stuck in traffic. Same thing coming back. We didn't come back till well after midnight, maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, stuck on a bus. And they said the interstates were slowing down. People were actually stopping on the interstate to get out and take selfies with the eclipse. Can you imagine, on the interstate? So Nikolai, I think, had better luck. He went out a little bit further west than us, I believe. Did you not?
Yeah, I was in Idaho and I did not really have that experience. There were many people, but there certainly weren't any traffic jams or anything like that.
Yeah.
You had a lot of opportunity to travel through all sorts of remote roads to still be, you know, in the center of the totality. So that, I guess it all depends on luck and location. The other thing with Newfoundland is in 2024, you have the opportunity to see it in Western and in kind of central Eastern Newfoundland. And even though April has terrible prospects here, the chances that both Western and Eastern Newfoundland will have cloud at the same time are not as high as, you know, if you just decide to stay in either Western or Eastern.
Bear in mind, though, that April 8th could still be winter in places. So if you're planning to try and drive across the island that day, you may be thwarted, right?
And it's 7-hour drive. So
Yeah.
if the weather changes quickly. So we were right here in 2017. We were in Carolina, right here. And the roads are excellent, and it's rural area, and there was not a lot of traffic. And it was we actually planned to be here because we can drive really quickly. I'll just go back to my file really quickly. I am almost done. So yeah, I'm still. I know it's a long time from now, but if you're booking airfare and hotel for the total solar eclipse 2 years ahead of time, it's probably when I'm going to start planning. It really takes a while. So I say it sounds like west coast of the US, so Mexico would be a better bet.
Yeah, I've already priced the trip from Air Canada to Mazatlan.
Yeah,
It's about $1,700 each way.
I know. So I don't think I'll take my chances in Newfoundland.
Well,
you remember the RASC 150th, which was a winter event, and we were the only place that was clear.
Yeah. But
Canada,
myself and Gary were on the center line for the 1970 eclipse, same path, and we were clouded out. I mean, the cloud was within 10 feet of your head. It was nice seeing the cloud go over with the totality, but we didn't see anything.
I think I'll try and get my pilot's license by then and stick it out in Newfoundland.
Awesome.
Tour groups have already started $500 deposit. So
There you go.
but they
Actually, for this, for last December, we were organizing a group viewing event with Chile with some astronomers there, and of course that didn't happen. But there is safety in numbers, especially if you're in a location which is kind of sketchy. So maybe we should think about doing something together.
I overnighted in Mazatlan on our way to the 1992 eclipse. We flew from there over to the La Paz area, and it was a very nice place, nice and humid, warm. And, it was relatively safe because it's all tourists, right?
Okay, I wanted to show you something else. Summer solstice is coming up.
Mhm.
And for me personally, which is a kind of a cultural detour, in Latvia, when I'm from originally, this is the biggest event of the year. This is bigger than Christmas. And it's all about singing and dancing and fires and of course beer, lots of beer. And yeah, so summer solstice is a huge, huge event in Latvia.
Astronomers
Take it
without
here.
Astronomers Without Borders are doing things for all these events, and what they'd like you to do is take a picture of either the sunrise or sunset and post it on Twitter with a hashtag. So you can look that up. I think the actual solstice for us is 2 o'clock in the morning on that morning, isn't it?
Woohoo! But another thing I wanted to mention is when I was looking for photos to show you, I realized when I was growing up in Latvia, I did not know summer sky really well. I know it much better now. And it just occurred to me why. Because the sky is like that. So constellations like Scorpio and so on, I never saw them.
I follow a YouTube group out of the Netherlands, and amazing how late at night it is before it actually gets dark. I mean, we're bad enough, but after midnight, it's just getting dark in the Netherlands. So it's
Doesn't even really get dark, of course.
Yeah.
You go far enough north.
of course, we can't wish for the dark nights thing, can we?
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, thanks very much. Excellent, actually. Thanks for sharing your photographs and your experience of actually seeing the sun.
Do you want me to
I
show
was
some?
interviewed at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning by BOCM Live, wanting to know
Yeah.
what I could see, and I'm saying,
Mr.
well, it's kinda
Astrologer,
cloudy, you know.
Mr. Astrologer.
Yeah.
With an
Let me-
L. Ooh.
Can I try this again?
Yep.
No. What do you
Yeah.
see now?
Oh, I see a picture. That's progress.
Okay. So let's go back to this thing again. Now do
There
you
we
see?
go.
Yay!
Hooray.
Okay.
Perseverance.
So here's
Pretty
what I was
red.
saying. Here's what I was saying about the blue is good, right? So Mazatlan is within 20 kilometers of the center line. And as I say, all these areas here are very popular. See, the people from Houston are going to be going up here with their guns.
Yeah.
And I think the Canadians are planning to go down to London, Ontario type areas around the lakes, aren't they? I'm not sure, down in Buffalo and those areas. So you were asking whether or not there was any difference in the color. I don't really see much in the way of color change across, based on that that screen there, right? So that's that.
Yeah.
So Clarenville is Clarenville okay there? No.
Carmel is a bit south.
Yeah.
Right through the middle of Terra Nova. I mean, that's
Yep.
incredible, isn't it? That's
Yep.
worth sticking it out, I think.
Terra Nova, Bonavesta, and Tickle Cove.
Yeah.
Well, the
How
thing
much
is,
would it-
Portabass on the other side.
let's see, if you go up, you can get into the central
Eclipse.
zone just by going up the Bay Robertson area, right? It won't be as good, but or as long.
How many people would you have to have on board to get the Terra Nova platform to pay off?
Yeah,
Drag it out to Central Line anywhere.
yeah. So as I say, here's just show. Some of these are unidentified because I just skimmed them off. I saw some cute ones. People were actually showing this part and calling it the shark, right?
New Jersey Devils.
Yeah. So some of these are, this was in Southern Ontario, a guy called Ben's Astrophotography.
I thought Jenna Hines' picture with the CN Tower was a good one.
Yeah. This was Mr. Astro Backyard. If you follow him on Twitter or YouTube, Trevor Jones. Oops. This is Dave Chapman in Halifax. It's about as much as they got. And here was the Times. So, and representation of how much people were seeing, right? So people were doing this sort of stuff as well, right? Take a picture of your camera, taking a picture of the item. This was Iqaluit, Frank Weirden. I think he's a local. What he's doing up there, I don't know. I didn't hear back from my contact in Iqaluit, so I don't know if they saw it.
Your students.
One of the things that Trevor Jones did, he did a YouTube video and he said, don't do what I'm doing. He said, since it's on the horizon and cloudy, he just used a camera filter, not a real solar filter, just to get the reddish picture. But he had a filter to put in front of it as it got up higher. So like I said, people are going for the artistic impression now, this sort of thing, right? And you've got to plan that out pretty well, right, to get that right through there. And there's what we saw. This is Tourist Cove.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
The farther away you got from St. John's, the drier it got. So anyhow, as Chris was saying, the teaser is that's clear sky out there, right? So if only I had a helicopter.
It's not the northeast.
Here's from space.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and I think this is Detroit.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Some of these are, this is one that Nikolai posts. I think this is from Montreal, is it? Scott C3 MTL, I'm assuming is Montreal. And I'm not sure which two places these are. Fox 4, I think is Detroit somewhere again. This is in Kentucky, but Kentucky didn't see anything, right?
The one you showed that you said
No, that-
I posted was from Blanc Sablon
Okay.
in
Good, okay. Yeah.
Quebec, I guess.
So I couldn't tell. I did some research on it. This is the dome where in the DC capital, it says. Oh, is that Washington? So anyhow, they all start to look alike after a while, right? So yeah. So that's these pictures. I don't have any else to show there, I don't think.
I can show some of the ones from Newfoundland and Labrador if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, just directly off of Twitter. All right, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so just by going on Twitter and using NLWX and then Eclipse, you'll see some of the pictures. So this one is from Happy Valley Goose Bay. You can't see the sun itself, however, right here, you can see that obviously there's an eclipse happening.
Okay, good.
Here's another. Labrador was decently clear. This is from Twillingate, which is the easternmost location in the province that I know of that was able to see the eclipse. But again, you see it pretty cloudy there too, so it was through the clouds. This one is from Goose. No, that's from Blanc Sablon. This is from Eastern Newfoundland.
Totally eclipse.
I feel like there was another. Okay. No, this was, I just reposted. This was the picture I took myself from the last partial eclipse we had in St. John's. But I think that's it in terms of, public reports from this province. Also, as you know, in order to have seen the annular eclipse, you would have had to go to northwestern Ontario. and I just wanted to show you that that was the only easily accessible location in North America to see it. And I just wanted to show you what the cloud was like on that day there, because I was keeping an eye. That was June 10th, right?
Yep.
Okay, so there we go. So these are the Great Lakes. This is Northern Ontario. So it was, they were getting thunderstorms, like a widespread cluster of thunderstorms. It was not just overcast, it was pouring there. So I think that's the reason why we haven't seen any pictures of the annularity. You know, given given the weather, it's kind of unfortunate, because I imagine a lot of people went there to do that, but they were, you know, there wasn't even, I think there was a spot in Northwestern Ontario, kind of south of Dryden, that cleared out, but they were just outside the path of the annular eclipse, which is very unfortunate. So as far as I know, nobody saw it, unless something up here, you know, in Hudson Bay, I don't know, but I haven't seen anything. So that's pretty unfortunate.
That's why eclipses are rare.
Yeah.
They could say there's one every year, but not everybody gets to see them.
Yeah. Anyway, that's, I think, all I have for the eclipse.
Well, thanks. Well, although we didn't get the eclipse, are we ready for other people's photographs, Randy?
I've got a few photos
Yeah,
to
sure.
share for the
Oh,
eclipse. If you
okay,
want to
Phil.
see them.
Oh, okay, go for it, Phil.
Can you turn off the light there, Phil? Is that sunshine?
That is blinding sunshine. I can turn off my camera. I'll screen share it. It'll take me out of here anyway. Here we go. Let's see what I can find here. So I just have 4 pictures. Let's see if you see this. Everybody got that?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
nice sun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So none of these pictures are great. They're all taken with my cell phone, so nothing special here. But I did have my 11x80 binoculars with solar filters on them. So the last 2 pictures are through the 11x80 binoculars, so you see more of the phase after sunrise. But this is taken from Hamilton Beach, looking east-northeast across Lake Ontario. So it's a very good view of the sunrise. So it's similar to some of the ones that Randy was showing there from various places a moment ago. So the cool thing about the sunrise is I'm used to going to the beach and seeing the sunrise from there. But this was, you know, the usual point of light, but then it remained a point as it rose. So it's like this giant neon shark fin rising out of the water, and it kept on rising and rising. It's this kind of shark fin. It was really weird. And let's see if I can go to the next one here, if I'm on this screen. Yeah, so this is a couple of minutes later. There's a bird there, a gull. But this is all overexposed. So that's the one horn that was rising. But the other limb rose, so that for a brief time there was actually like a little second sunrise coming over on the other side. So this is the complete crescent of the sun rising with the moon obscuring it. So it was just a beautiful view. I don't have any decent photos aside from these kind of cell phone things for it though, but it was a fabulous thing to look at as it came up. And the other thing, like any sunrise, is it's really distended. So the cool thing about the sunrise from the beach there is that it was kind of oblong. It was all stretched out in the horizontal direction. So it rose as this really distended looking crescent first off. The last 2 views are just views through the 11x80 binoculars, and it's similar to what you've seen elsewhere. You know, some detail in here, but there's nothing on the sun that I can see anyway. But so this is, oh gosh, this is at 5:51 a.m. local time, and then we go 10 minutes later and you can see how much the moon has moved off the disk of the sun. So it was very fast moving. So it's pretty neat. But that's all I got.
Hey, great.
Really good, actually. Better than we got, Phil. Way
Well,
better.
yeah, that's just weather though. You guys here with better cameras, we've got a lot more, I'm sure.
Anybody else got any eclipse pictures before we move on? No? Okay. What's next on the agenda? You want me to share those pictures?
Well, you can do, well, we have Nikolai to do, observation and photos. A few things I wanted to mention about what's coming up over the summer, these sorts of things.
Yeah, okay.
Sky News is out.
It is.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's share one set of pictures here first, because I got two sets to share. Okay, let's see. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Mike's up first.
Okay, so this M51, and it's the first time I sort of collected images over a few nights. So that, well, this one's 2 nights, so a total of 41 minutes, which, since I'm not automated, means, and I'm doing it at 30 seconds a shot, means that that took 82 clicks. But anyways, I was pleased with that. So I was happy to see that I could sort of combine things from 2 nights, and it's moved enough off of the zenith that my camera doesn't run into my tripod. So that this was using the 80mm refractor and a Canon SL2 and deep sky stacker, and then wiggling around the curves to bring it out with GIMP. So that's that one, Gary, if you want to do the next one. And this is M64. So it was 3 nights, so May 28th, June 2nd, and June 4th, I think. And it's a pretty small object, so I've cropped these a lot. But I was pleased I could see anything at all with such a small telescope. And again, that's doing 3 nights and doing a little bit with GIMP to try and bring it out. And you'll notice these are all sort of in the same part of the sky, because I kind of have a slot that I can look at between the trees and the house. And okay, so that's that one, Gary, if you want to do the next one. And this is M57. So this was it's the Ring Nebula. So it's also a longer exposure, and later at night, so it had sort of come up over top of the house. And it's a very small object, but I was pleased with how it came out. And same setup, so I don't have much more to say about that. It's, yeah, an M101, again, the same deal. This was, there was, I guess it was May 28th, there was cloud coming and going, and I was getting close to trees, so I had a few, and the M64 was a similar situation. So I only did 1 night on this, and I could only get 9 minutes in 1 shot, but I was pleased I could see anything at all with that. And
that's only 9 minutes exposure, Mike?
yeah,
Wow.
but pretty aggressive tweaking with GIMP.
Oh.
Okay.
Next one.
Yep, please. So this one was, this one's interesting. This was when we were thinking we might see the eclipse. So this was trying out a way to look at the sun and So using a camera, I used an ASIA 120mm Mini in the PST. And the deal with the Coronado PST is the focus, you can't move the focus very much, and it's actually right down in the tube. So you have to use some kind of camera that goes into the eyepiece tube. You can't use a DSLR. So I had this, I got this ASI 120 Mini from Jim Johnson. And this is a, it says 2000 frame video and then auto stackered. And as Chris sort of instructed me, you have to turn the gain way down to see anything. And then so I used auto stacker to stack it. And then to see the sunspot and the prominences at the same time, the curve. So when you sort of map brightness onto the signal from the camera, you have to pull the brightness way up at the part of the histogram that corresponds to the prominences, and then pull it way down right next to that at the part of the histogram that corresponds to the disk of the sun. And so it looks a little bit funny, but you can actually see both things. So I was quite pleased with that. But we never did get a chance to try this setup with the Eclipse.
So you need a focal reducer to reduce it down a little bit, or is that to get the full disc in the picture?
I would, yeah. I didn't use one.
Okay.
But yeah, you would need that. That was basically I can almost get the whole sun into that onto that sensor, but not quite.
Is there a zoom using sharp cap to capture?
Yeah, but I was as far as I could go on that.
I found if I played with zoom on sharp cap, it used to bomb out on me, give me a blue screen.
Well, this I was using ASI cap.
Okay.
It's what seemed to work with. I guess sharp cap must work with a camera like this too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I used. I mean, the sensor is the sensor. I mean, the image is, if the image is larger than the sensor, that's it. You can't play
Yeah,
with
and
that.
I suspect that's the problem here.
Yeah.
And
That's a
of course,
brilliant image.
I was using the AZ GTI, which is a little mount that Randy has, and Randy has two of them, and I have one, and I find that it's really nice for the PST. It's very light. You just power it with 8 AA batteries, control it with your phone, and so I find that it's ideal for solar stuff. So that's probably enough on that one, Gary.
I think we're gone to Chris now. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. That was just. Is there actually a picture of the spectrum to go with this, Gary?
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted you to. Okay. Just wanted you.
All right.
This is from the last couple of days?
Yes.
Trying to recognize. Okay. First of all, yeah. Okay. If you could back up one, Gary. There's yet another bright nova. This time in Hercules. I don't know what's going on with the galaxy, the neighborhood in the galaxy this year. All these nearly naked eye novae are popping out everywhere since spring. There's first of all the one in Cassiopeia in March, and then one in Sagittarius, and I forget where the third one. This is I think a fourth one. Randy, you mentioned this just a few days ago. It was discovered on Saturday, the 12th. Saturday the 12th? No, Saturday. Yes, whatever. And it quickly rose to 6th magnitude, and of course, I just disassembled an experimental spectrograph, thinking it was going to be cloudy for a while. So on Monday night, I rapidly reassembled it again, and went out at about 10:30 when I got it focused, and tracked it down. It's in Hercules, right on the border with Aquila. It's actually not too far from one of the stars in the summer triangle, and that would, of course, would be Altair. And so this is west of Altair and up a bit, right at the border. So you can see the red crosshairs. The view on the left is actually, I point my telescope by having a small camera with a 50mm lens on it, just looking at where the telescope is pointed. And that's at 2-second exposures, I get down to, well, you can compare with what's on the right, which is a synthetic view from Stellarium. And, 2 seconds gets me down around 8th magnitude, which is, great. You can just, I move the telescope using the paddle, and then I use the cursor keys to move the Stellarium window at the same time, and I can move the two in tandem. And that's how I point the telescope. It's old-fashioned, but it's kind of cool. So the Nova, in this case, is right under the crosshairs. And you can see bits of gray windows underneath at the bottom poking out. One of those is a camera I have looking at. There's a little tiny steel metal tube. It's actually a hypodermic needle bent over. It's filled with optical fibers. And there's a camera looking past that at the main telescope field of view. That's so that you can put things on the end of the bundle of fibers. And so when you've got the object on top of the fibers. And so if you can go to the next view, Gary. And I'm going to say that the section of these aren't like the images I'm familiar with. Certainly, unfortunately, Gary, what you have under Nova spectrum is the neon spectrum I took on the benchtop just before going out, so I could do wavelength calibrations. Those are all. That's the the spectrum of neon.
Sorry,
that's okay.
I tried to take all 4 of your pictures, and they're all separate. So I guess I must have labeled it wrong. But
yeah, no.
I was looking at stretched, so I don't have your spectrum.
If I had my other laptop, I could probably dig it out of the email. If I could, I'll share it after this. The one on the right is Altair. Just a couple of notes briefly. The neon spectrum, normally when you look at a neon tube, you just see orange. And even through a spectroscope, you just see some yellow and orange and red lines and maybe a couple of green lines. But if Mike was talking about using GIMP and the curves, playing with the histogram, I find that if you can basically take the logarithm of the image, which brings out the faint stuff and suppresses the bright stuff. So you can see it all at the same. So this is the reason you can see blue on the left there in the neon spectrum. There are lots of blue lines, but they're very, very faint. And also, my spectrograph sees out into the near infrared, and even color cameras see all wavelength. Well, the little color filters on the pixels are all transparent to the near infrared. So in the near infrared part of the spectrum, you can see starting from in the middle where it's red and going right, it goes gold because the red filters get transparent first, and then the green filters get transparent, and the blue filters get transparent. So all those gray lines, every pixel is in play out there. So the camera is actually more sensitive than near infrared. Any color camera this works for. So neon also has near infrared lines. In the Altair spectrum on the right, you can see some vertical black lines. Those are absorption features in the star. It's interesting on the left, you might be able to see those are lines of hydrogen. There's one in the red. Yep, there's one in the blue-green. That's H alpha. The one in the blue-green is going left. Keep going left. That's it. And then one in the blue. That's beta. That's delta, gamma delta, sorry, and so on. So that's hydrogen lines. There's some dark bands in the gold and in the blue-gray. That's due to the Earth's atmosphere, molecular oxygen and water vapor. And it's cute. It's a neat thing to see. I'll try and dig up the spectrum of the nova and share it in a few minutes. But it's basically an emission spectrum of hydrogen, but because the explosion is expanding so fast, the hydrogen lines are broadened, and I may talk about that in a bit. So I'll let it go. Thanks, Gary.
Sorry about that. All spectrum look alike at that small size.
Sorry.
Ones I was looking at when I was thinking.
Yeah.
All
All right.
Okay, Jim sent two. He's got his new observatory and just wanted to show us some of the stuff that he's done. This is 6997. 60 millimeter ED refractor. Fantastic image. And this is the Ghost Nebula, 90 minutes. He wants to do another 15 to 20 hours to give it justice.
What was that AP mount he had it listed on, the previous picture?
That's his new mount. It's a Astrophysics
Ooh,
900.
that's a nice puppy.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy duty mount with basically a tiny telescope on top of it. It's no wonder. That was done without guiding, I think Jim was saying.
You
Gary?
should have you should have posted that picture, Gary, with that little tiny scope that I've been using for solar on top of the huge big mount.
It looked kind of
And
funny.
of course, Jim sent me a whole lot too. Are you there, Jim? Well, you can go look for your spectrum there. We'll show some of these slides.
Not
Okay,
easy
just
wall.
give me a second to unmute.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't believe in the couple of clear nights we had, so many pictures came in.
Well, this goes back a few months since I haven't been showing anything for the last little while, and also the fact that we're breaking for the summer. So anyway, yeah. So over the winter, I've been recovering from back surgery. So this is only a few, and during that time there were only a few clear nights that I missed. So, but it was pretty bad weather for the last several months, but I was able to get out a few times to get at some targets from my backyard. Now the view from my backyard is pretty terrible. I can pretty well only see Ursa Major and some of the circumpolar constellations when they're high in the sky. Close to zenith is with shooting straight up is a bit of a challenge, but it's about all I can see from my backyard. So the first picture. Okay, so I guess the gear I've been using is familiar to most. I'm basically using a sort of antique manual focus telephoto lens from Canon, a 500 millimeter prime, and then attaching it to various cameras, full frame cameras in my case. And I found I guess the magic formula, of course, is just longer and longer and longer exposures. So this particular image is an image of M81 Bode's galaxy on the left and M82, the Cigar galaxy, on the right. Now these are interacting galaxies, and the distance between them is only about 150,000 light years. And this pair of galaxies is in the constellation Ursa Major. And this is approximately 150 minutes, which is, well, do the math. Do the math, it's 2.5 hours of exposure for this one. And basically I processed it to bring out a little bit of the blue in the spiral arms of M81, which is basically star formation, or basically young stars in the spiral arms, and the older stars in the core. In the Cigar galaxy, you get this explosive effect of new star formation, And that's barely visible here with my one-shot camera. I'm still working on trying to bring out those colors. Anyway, switch to the next slide. I've been enjoying trying to get more than one object in the field of view. So this is another example. This is the M97, the Owl Nebula to the lower left there. It's a small planetary nebula that's basically the artifact of a gas cloud that's expelled from an exploding star. Now I don't know, it's called it's blown off by a dying star, but you can get planetary nebula just blown off as part of the normal cycles of a star through its lifetime. I don't know if that's the case here, if this is a nova remnant, but it's basically a perfectly circular sphere of gas there. And you can see that it's a nice bright teal. I think that's mostly probably oxygen-3 there that particular. And there's a little bit of faint tinges of red that's visible, but not in this particular slide on my. And to the upper center there's the what is it, M108, which is sometimes called the surfboard galaxy. Now that's an edge-on spiral galaxy. It's 45 million light years away. What's interesting about that particular galaxy is it's a barred spiral galaxy like our Milky Way, and we're seeing it edge on. And there's over 400 billion stars in that particular galaxy. And I read that there's more than 290 globular clusters that have been mapped in that galaxy. So next slide. This is the Whirlpool galaxy again. This is the most time that I've managed to get on this particular target, which is 46 times 103 minutes. So whatever the math is there, that's about 2 hours of exposure time. And that's been processed to within an inch of its life and cropped to, because that was made with again, in this case, I used the teleextender teleconverter 1.4 times. So the effective focal length for this was 700 millimeters, which is still a little short to shoot galaxies, but that's all I've got right now. So this is I emphasize the blue in the spiral arms that's the younger blue star clusters, and the red H alpha regions in M51 basically renders as dark brown clouds in the spiral arms there. Anyway, and that's tearing apart its companion, which is NGC 5195 right there. And there's some faint hints of gas streaming off, tidal tails going off to the top and to the sides and so on. So that's the most detail I've been able to get out of the Whirlpool. And that was, one of our circumpolar gems in the sky, in the night sky. So that's in constellation Canis Venatici, which is near Ursa Major. Okay, the next slide. This is M106. This is a recent shot. This is a few weeks back. This is an interesting galaxy. On my screen, I don't see the extended luminosity of the spiral arms. There's basically two different, there's the bright yellow core, which you can see there. And there's not a lot of detail in there, but those are young, basically old, mature stars that are billions of years old. Whereas in the extended spiral arms, which I can see on my own monitor, but not on this screen, extends out about a factor of 2 past that. So it's much larger than what you see there in yellow. But there's a faint blue young stars that are only a few millions of years old that are in the outer spiral arms. Again, this is taken with the teleconverter, so it's 700 millimeters. And this is again in Canis Venatici. But what I like about this particular field of view is that there's lots of little warm fuzzies in the background there. You can, yeah, that's a good job of pointing them all out there. There's little tiny ones, but there's an edge-on spiral to the lower right there, in amongst just some foreground stars, which are nice, bright, and colorful. So this makes an actually a quite pretty star field.
I can't see that part.
Anyway, to the next slide, my last slide. This was taken Monday night, this past Monday, and I noticed that the M13 was basically rising towards the zenith, and I can actually see it from my backyard. So, yeah, I took my quantum form Maxitov Cassegrain telescope, which has got at prime focus for my camera. It's almost 1800 millimeters in focal length, so you can fill the field of view pretty well with M13. So it's a 4-inch telescope, dates back to 1980 in terms of its vintage, and it's an antique telescope with a modern camera, digital sensor. So with this one, I mean the bright yellow stars are red giants, and each one of those stars is about 1,000 times larger than our sun. So they're very, very bright. And then in amongst all those stars are those bright blue stars as well. So I imagine they're a lot hotter, but they seem to be a lot smaller too. So anyway, so that was what I've been doing. This particular shot is only 43 60-second exposures. Anyway,
Nice, Jim. Really nice.
Thank you for
Very
looking.
I've seen an amateur take M13 over a couple of hours and made a GIMP, and you can actually see some of the stars brighten and dim. It was amazing.
Yeah, I never thought about animating a star field at this point. That sounds like an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, I was quite amazed at how many stars varied so fast. I don't know how many hours it was, but it was quite interesting. All right, Randy, what we got next on our things? Thanks everybody for sharing their pictures. Really good.
If everyone else has shared their pictures, I can go
spectrum?
back and show the spectrum.
Yeah, you can share and show your spectrum.
And
I picked the wrong one.
no, it's okay.
Well,
I can first cheat, and I do this. I don't know if you can see my. That's
Yeah,
the
your
telescope
yeah.
with all my little red cameras on it. But there's a blue box and a larger middle top blue box with a larger red camera, and there's sort of a snaky coil gooseneck going across down to the back. That's the spectrograph. That's a 12-inch mead and a little plastic observatory out in our backyard. Hopelessly handicapped by lots of trees. This is back in April when there are no leaves. So this is an email I sent around a couple of days ago, which Gary, I think, extracted from. And I apologize. I left gaps between these 4 pictures when I sent the email, and the mailer took the gaps out. So they're all. Can everyone see this? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. So there's neon on top. There's the next one down is a star that's close to the Hercules nova. And for comparison, the Hercules.
Look at the expansion on them. Holy
Yeah,
moly.
the Hercules, the spectrum of the nova right here. This is 3-minute integrations for all of these things, and this is 12 3-minute integrations. I was doing it all by hand because I was tired and I didn't set up auto guiding. And the thing to note here is, look how wide the hydrogen lines are. And I think a lot of people tuning in know about Doppler shifting, and when something is moving towards or away from you, the frequency or the wavelength of what it is you're registering changes. And if it's moving towards you, it gets a higher frequency or bluer wavelength, and away from me, the opposite. So here, the nova is an explosion, and it's rapidly expanding. Turns out this one is very rapidly expanding indeed, unusually so. And in fact, you can see in my email, I did a quick calculation. Just below this, there's Altair, and here are the hydrogen lines, which are nice and sharp. Altair is a A or B, A star, I think it is, and shows nice bright or sharp hydrogen lines. So they're in the right place, but it's expanding both away from and towards us. And if you measure the width of this and work out the Doppler shift, it's expanding at about 3,000 kilometers a second. That's how fast the explosion is happening. You can actually tell that from the spectrum. So that's basically what I want to show. It's pretty cool, and I'll be trying to follow this if it stays bright enough for the next little while. And that's it for me finally. Thanks, Gary.
Chris,
Yes.
in each of your spectrum, there's the black horizontal lines. What's causing that?
This is atmospheric atomic.
No, the horizontal lines. Your spectrum.
These are, I made this fancy fiber optic cable myself, and most of the fibers in it broke, and these are the 4 that didn't break.
Oh, okay.
So a broken fiber doesn't get the light from one end of the cable to the other. So these 4 fibers, 1, 2, and then 3, 4. There are 4 others that are in a bunch, which I cropped out because they're uselessly packed together. And so yeah, so this is the idea here was to pack lots of fibers in a tube, and you could put this on the sky, and it's something called integral field spectroscopy, and you can basically take a little spectrum or a spectrum for every little part of an image, and you can map out an image with lots of spectra. This is what they do these days. And so this attempt, well, yeah, okay, I'll try again. So each one of these narrow horizontal slices is a single optical fiber, 50 micron optical fiber. I thought you were talking about these vertical bands here.
No.
Yeah, that's just absorption. This is molecular oxygen.
Yeah. So the idea is that you could try and put a star on each fiber?
Yeah, well, for astronomers at big telescopes have plates, and
yeah, I know. I know how they do that. So you're aiming for that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, multiplexing. If you're going to spend 3 hours in one place just to get enough signal to see anything, you'd like to take, many fibers at once during those 3 hours. So this is one way to do it. Pack all the fibers together and park it on top of something that actually has structure, an image of some sort. And then you can take a spectrum of each part of the image.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I'll keep you appraised. But it's what I'm trying to do at my little observatory. So thanks. Cool. I guess I need to stop sharing now.
That's really cool.
Cool.
Good.
Gary, I've got one.
Put up the wrong one there.
Gary, I got one more picture I can show if you don't mind.
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
See if this works any better this time.
Well, we all seem to have trouble with sharing tonight.
You can see this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a huge, big sunspot that's just appeared, just coming around. Last Sunday was there. If you have a large enough scope, you can actually see lots and lots of detail in the middle of it there. So in actual fact, I didn't notice till after. You can actually see some of the mottling around the edge of it too, right? So that's a single image. I didn't do any processing. I'm converting from non-DLSR mirrorless to imager, so having fun. Anyhow, so that's what I wanted to do, show you that.
Hey, that's great.
Cool. Really nice, actually.
That's going to come around over the next week. So if you have a solar scope, as actually worth. That brings up a point too in terms of the 2024 eclipse. They think the solar cycle will be just peaking around then. So they're thinking the corona might be huge. So if you're thinking of photographing it, you might want to zone out a little bit so you can see more of the corona too, right?
Yeah, Mike's setup was pretty neat for doing that.
Yeah.
Very good.
I
Right.
got my parts for my lunt today, Gary.
Oh yeah, I got mine put in today.
Anybody else who's got a lunt? Hey.
Got the little blue filter.
Little blue glass filters, yeah. Lunts have
Blue
a problem.
glass.
They get rotted filters after a while. So anyway.
Rot or rust, take your pick.
Also got my AGM stuff today. This is the pin for this year. It's called GA 2021. The stars belong to everyone. Woohoo.
Gary?
Yeah.
If you got a second, I could show a picture. I've got a picture of the nova that I could, if I could share the screen, and just from the other night, probably the same night that Chris was doing things.
No problem. Go ahead.
Okay.
Randy, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the lunt and those blue filters, how long does a blue filter last in the lunt telescope? When do you have to change it out?
It's atmospheric, apparently. Mine developed over the winter, I guess. Now Gary's suggesting, they're suggesting that you put some silica and put your finder and stuff in a bag with some of that stuff. I hadn't noticed it till I looked at this when I was getting ready for the eclipse, and I said, boy, this is not a very good image. And when
Randy?
I looked, yep.
Did the filter get foggy?
You can actually see stuff on it that's like a mottling.
Yeah.
I didn't try to clean it, so I
Cleans it off a little bit with alcohol.
But the fact that
Oh,
they're
okay.
selling them for $7.95, obviously they were in stock, right? They had a manufacturing problem with the other side, the red one, and they were willing to give those away. They didn't even sell those, and so.
Now, these traditional photometry filters, you know, the Johnson V, V, and R filters. The V filter was made with a shot glass, 37, I think it is, that was actually hygroscopic. You couldn't leave it out in the weather for very long because it would fog up. Like I was wondering, blue-green.
Yeah, the company recommends the little bags, throw them in with your stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in my stereos. So
anybody needs one, I got a spare.
Okay, thank you, Randy.
Okay.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah,
sharing your picture.
Yeah, so this is a picture from I forget, was that Monday night?
Yeah, it was discovered on Saturday or Sunday. I think.
And so there's FF Aquilae, Altair's down here somewhere, and there was a picture by somebody named John Reed on Twitter, which I was able to use to sort of pick out that that's the nova there. And, you know, there's something here that looks, you know, a funny grouping of stars and a couple others that you can sort of use to identify where that is. And it turns out that the coat hanger is just sort of up off the top left of this picture, if you know the coat hanger asterism. So it's a little bit harder to pick out of the star field than the one in Cassiopeia was. There's a lot more stars around here and a lot less easily identifiable patterns. But I think so it's pretty impressive that Chris managed to line up his bundle of fibers on that little guy there. But he obviously got it because of the you know, the funny spectrum.
Only on the second try. On the first try, what I thought was it after 10 or 15 minutes of exposure, turned out to be a star. So yeah, I missed the first. It was actually much fainter than I was expecting.
Yeah, and apparently it's all gotten much fainter again now.
Oh dear.
It's about, I think I read tonight that it's about 9.
That's right on the edge of what I can do right now.
Anyways, thanks.
Cool, Mike.
Hey, Gary, we should do Nikolai next, I think.
Okay, I'll let Nikolai play.
He's got the whole summer to talk about. So try to fit it in under 45 minutes, right?
No. Share screen. Can you see my screen? No. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Valerian.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
June, July.
Yes. So this is for the next month. Sun-related phenomena in the first table here. We're less than a week away from summer solstice. So our day is just about as long as it gets. I think we gain another, 3-4 minutes by June 22nd. And then it goes in the other direction where the days get shorter. These are the planets' rise and set times right now. This is a current picture of the sun, similar to what Randy was showing. Major sunspot rotating into view towards the center. And that's about the only significant activity on the go, but it's pretty cool. Definitely would recommend checking it out. In terms of planets, we have evening planets, Venus and Mars, kind of low after the sun. Well, Venus at least. Mars is a bit higher. And in the morning, we have Mercury, which will be relatively well placed in the morning sky just before sunrise until mid-July. And then we have the gas giants rising just before midnight and climbing high enough for meaningful observations after midnight. The ice giants as well, they are a little bit later than Jupiter and Saturn, but also should get high enough later in the morning to resolve with a small telescope. Comments, nothing interesting that I know of. Asteroids, the usual stuff. Supernovae, we've talked about the one in Hercules. And then not much for meteor showers for this period. We have a list of deep sky objects for June and July. And we do have the observing challenge here for the summer, which is to spot Fomalhaut naked eye. Now, if you have seen it before, you will know that it's an extremely southern, very low star in the sky. It is located in Pisces Silstrinus. So this is the most southerly and difficult to see bright star from our latitude. So it will be visible in the south after midnight, rising earlier as the summer progresses. It's usually only about 5 degrees above the horizon, but it does peak near 15 degrees in August and September. And in order to see it, you'll need an unobstructed view of the southern horizon, as well as a very clear and transparent sky, because as you know, closer to the horizon, that's where it gets murky. So here is what it looks like right now. This here is where Fomalhaut is. It's in Pisces Austrinus, and just for reference, Aquarius is above it and kind of just Sagittarius to the right. So this is actually for overnight tonight. This is 4 a.m. tonight. So once Sagittarius kind of rotates out of view, it gets replaced by this constellation, and that's where you're looking at. As we move into, let's say, August, it will be visible earlier, but you still see that it's very, very low in the sky. So you need really clear view and really good weather. So it is hard to see, but thankfully you have the whole summer. So hopefully you do see it. And if you can take a picture, that's also great. So we'll report back on that in September. I was wondering what a good challenge is for the summer, and, that's, seeing something so subtly located in the sky, I thought was appropriate for that challenge. So, of course, you're welcome to provide feedback, or if you have any ideas for challenges, you're more than welcome to suggest them to me. I do have ideas for the future, but eventually I'll run out. This is the International Space Station passes. They do resume June 28th and continue into July. And observing calendars are here. Of course, this is June, and there's no meetings in July. So, and fun fact, we do have 5 lunar, what do you call them, principal phases occurring in July. We do have 2 third quarters in the month of July, on the 1st and on the 31st. So fun fact there. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You call that a blue
Thanks,
first
Nikolai.
quarter.
Thanks for sharing. All right. You have something else, Randy?
I wanted to
Anybody
mention,
else? Any observing? Sky News.
you should be getting yours next week. I wanted to mention there's a special section in the middle about astronomy education, typically for high schoolers, and what Kareem is doing in Montreal Center. He's actually getting the kids to image process with PI and stuff, images that you can get off the web from the various satellites, the old Juno and Saturn and Jupiter and all those things. And it's amazing what the kids are getting out of some of these things.
Oh, wow.
He had them chart the full year of the sunrise and sun travel and stuff. If you look, he was on the Explore Scientific Star Party last night. So if you look for that on YouTube, we had a nice long segment of what they're doing in Montreal for Montreal Center, at least for some of the high school kids. Very interesting.
Cool. We still get paper copies of Sky News, apparently?
Yes, you should be
Okay.
getting. I got the bulk package yesterday, so you should be getting yours in the mail next week.
It's
The
not
journal.
something- It's
The
not
journal is the
something-
only one that you pay
Yeah,
for.
I was just going to say, it's not something you opt out of, because I haven't received the Sky News in a long time.
Is that right?
Maybe not even this year.
Wow, well, you should have reported that.
Well,
Yeah, check into that.
yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
hasn't,
I just got my Sky News a couple of days ago, but it's the first one that arrived in a long time.
I'll package up 6 or 8 or 10 episodes for you there, Chris, and next time I see you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Not sure what's going on.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Yeah, check into that, your membership.
Yeah.
I wanted
Werner,
to,
what have you been doing? I'm just going to cut you off for a second.
I haven't had much observing time, to tell you the truth.
didn't see the eclipse.
That morning, I was all set up to have a look at it, and there was some clear sky around out here. But right where the sun was at, no, there was this big cloud, and it stayed there all while it was happening. So now you can see the sun through it, and I think I did put a picture up on it, but
It's
Jeez,
just
I
unlucky not
had to use one of those sky view apps on my phone to see where the sun was. Right?
Yeah, no, it was
Sad,
supposed to be
sad.
like partly clear, like you said, partly clarity, but no, it wasn't enough. Wasn't lucky enough for it to get a good view. But yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of observing. Been working all the time, working away, and it seems like every time you get a chance to do it, it's a cloudy night, and then as soon as you go back to work on the road, whatever, you get a clear night. So
And there's not much night as it is, right?
no, there's not. No, there's not. No. I did have a question. I'm thinking about maybe getting a refractor scope to piggyback on my Mead. Something, you know, not something wider angle or something that I could hook up a camera to get some wider angle ones. I don't know. Anybody got any suggestions, or if it would be a good idea, or
Can't go wrong with a refractor.
no? And you know, I should get to still good tracking. I wonder, very good tracking. You know, with that old Mead I got there, I got out of Jim Gillard. Seems like it's still working pretty good, and
It's the same
Okay.
meat I have. You put that refractor on top of it, and your stars will be pin sharp all the time.
would they? Would they? Okay, well that's good to know, because I guess where you've got a wider angle and you're not zoomed in as far.
Yeah, so long as the scope is balanced. I'm not sure how heavy these things are, 'cause I don't own one. Jim Johnson owns
There's a
one.
lot
I'd
of
like to-
short tube refractors around these days. The sharp stars and those sorts. They got a 60, an 80, and a 90 millimeter. But, I think
Yeah.
yeah. They're
Is
charging.
that
tried to-
something you could probably use that as a guiding scope now with the other scope, the main scope, if you wanted to. Would that work?
Well, a lot of people are
Well,
using
that's-
these 50 millimeter little things.
Well, that's what Bernard, I showed a picture a little while ago of my scope setup. I've got a Mead, a cheap, 90 millimeter Mead refractor. Now, the tube is very thin aluminum. It weighs nothing. I use that as a guide scope. But these apochromatic refractors, I think they're probably twice as heavy.
You don't need that for guiding though, right?
No.
That's a bit of waste. Skywatcher just brought out a 72 millimeter, I think they're calling it. It's a little short thing, specifically as a guide scope, but you could use it for, I mean, I'm using a little 60 millimeter for my solar these days. So,
Okay.
astronomics, right?
Yeah,
Astrotech.
something I'm going to have to research, I guess.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, thank you, everybody.
Get your second shots.
get your second shots. We can get together under the stars.
Yeah.
Take care.
2 weeks
Hopefully,
later.
see you over
Yeah.
the summer. We'll have a
Have a
couple
good
of
summer.
casuals.
Yeah.
We'll
Everybody
have
have
a
a good
group
summer.
back. Catch you later.
Okay. See ya.
So long.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
See everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for your contributions. Phil, is there
Thanks a
something
lot,
different?
bye.
Phil, is there something
Bye.
different with your face? Did you have a beard or mustache? Your face looks different to me.
Oh, really? Well, my glasses are different, maybe.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it is.
I
oh,
just
well.
grabbed a pair of glasses and stuck them on
Alright.
so I can see the screen, but
Okay.
nothing special.
Okay, good nights.
Good night.
Good night.
Ciao,
That's on the
ciao.
list.
All right.
See you, folks.
See
Bye.
ya. Nice pictures, Phil.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, yeah.